Hello again, survivors. This is NK Productions back again. Today I'm going to be doing a information mini guide. You may be asking yourself, what is this? What is an information mini guide? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about. Basically, what I kind of mean by an information mini guide is kind of how to uh, take like information from the game, like things like zombies, areas, chat, stuff like that, and how to deduce things like how to assume what's going to happen and approach situations that way. First thing is watching zombies. So basically, that means like zombies are a really good way to figure out player movement and like recent player activity and such. An example like um, you could be in one of the small towns or something, and you could see a zombie suddenly, move off to a building, and you know what happens? Like they move to the building, and they kind of start sliding along the building because they're trying to get to what's past it. That could be a player that it's going for. So things like that, or if you see, a town and a whole bunch of zombies start coming toward the building, that probably means the player was shooting. So things like that could be really useful and could save your life. Um, and like if you're going into a town, like you're going into Vernal or something like that, and all the zombies there's no zombies there. Basically, what you can assume from that is the player was there recently and it's been looted. I mean that doesn't prevent you from going inside, but just know that it was probably looted and that player is probably most likely nearby. Um, things like that, or if there's a whole bunch of zombies there, that probably means that zombies either just spawned or a player hasn't been there for a bit. Um, Location of zombies is probably going to be one of their most helpful things. So that means like do you see a few zombies gathered around a certain area? Do you see a few of them out in a field somewhere or behind a tree or something like that? Things like that can tell you, maybe somebody is running away from zombies because they're out of ammunition, and they tried to trap the zombies behind the tree and it worked, or maybe somebody was in a car and eventually the zombies just stopped chasing the car because you've probably seen that before. They just eventually just kind of string out along the field. Um, Things like that can be really helpful, and they can pretty much tell you where the car's going to that extent. Or do you see like a few zombies gathered around an area that could help you with players there recently or players there, you know, and he was able to get away from some zombies and trap them. And, yeah, but that can be pretty useful. And the next little thing is loot. So basically, what that means is you're able to by what you find, by the gear and stuff that you find, you're able to assume stuff. So just look at the amount of gear there and the rarity of it. You can assume if players were there recently. If it was a fresh spawn or something, like if it was like a really pro guy or something, they skipped a gun, or if it was a fresh spawn, there's everything cleaned out. You can really assume a lot of stuff from that. Uh, or maybe if the town's completely cleared out, like if you look down, you see the military tents or something at Vernal, and there's nothing in them from the hill, south of it. Yeah, south of it, I want to say. Anyways, but the hill that kind of surrounds Vernal, and if you look into those military tents and there's not anything there, then you can probably assume that the town's been looted like usual. Um, You can also use things like change weapons. Like if you see a dropped Makarov or something, which is everywhere, if you've played it all, you've probably seen it before. If there's a Makarov with two mags lying there, you probably know that somebody dropped it out to exchange it for a better gun, and you can assume that somebody has a better weapon now than a Makarov. Just little things like that. If you put it together, you can, and then you can really do a lot better. Um, and there's a lot of other things you can do with you can assume with loot, like if maybe I don't know there's a whole bunch like there's no car parks or something in an area, so maybe somebody has a car or something like that, or maybe there's a job jerry can. Maybe somebody lost a car recently and didn't have a use for it, so they just dropped it. That kind of thing. Now is hotspots. This is probably the most valuable one out of this. Uh, so you can by like the areas around something. So, for example, prison, radio tower, kin, heart, that kind of stuff. Um, by area of where you are, you're probably going to be able to assume the amount of player activity in that general area. So that can be very useful, and you can also change your route according to that. So hopefully you do already. You just go in a circle around the map, uh, the circular square, as I like to call it. But yeah, I actually call Radio Vernal Ulk, I believe it was, like a death triangle, something like that. I don't know what I call it exactly, but that's usually where a lot of the players are, around Radio Vernal and Ulk. Okay, Ulk, I don't know what you. Uh, but yeah, especially Radio Tower and Prison, that's where a lot of players are. So, by your assumptions, if you want to stay alive, if you want to get a lot of kills, you can just hang around these certain areas, or, if you want to loot a lot, you can change your route pattern according to what's in the general area. And hotspots also include things for heli crashes. So, if there's a heli crash in the area, this should be pretty obvious. But if you gotta scout it out first, get there and get out as fast as you can. Because heli crashes, that's like kid in a can, or kid in a helicopter, I guess. Because if you see that smoke, everybody goes towards it. Everybody in that general area. So you're gonna get there as fast as you can and then get out. Um, I used to think that nothing actually ever spawned to heli crashes, but it's if you're there first, because I've had quite a few times that like heli crashes spawn like right in front of me. If you get that, you are so decked. You can get attachments, military weapons, like two, maybe three if you're lucky. Black military packs, camo clothing. It's pretty great. So just keep an eye out for those, but also keep an eye out for players when you see those. Um, Also, though, when you see a heli crash, you can judge player activity in the area. Assume if there's a lot of players there based on the heli crash and how geared they are. Um, so yeah. Next one's chat. Obviously, but now with the group chat, it's not as valuable because a lot of people are in group, but it could still be helpful because there's a lot of people that just kind of hang out and chat and be like, oh, I was at Ulk and I just found a AK-12, you know, something like that. You'd be surprised how many people actually do that, thinking it's a smart idea for whatever reason. Or if somebody's asking for a group, that kind of thing. Or maybe it's like, oh, so and so just killed me, and maybe they'll give away some information of where they are and what they have, that kind of thing. You can just all like add this up, um, or be like maybe I fell to my death or something, and a player was shooting at me. You can know things like it has to be somewhere high, so kin tower, radio tower, maybe Trinity. Um, Unless they're low health, nowhere else. Maybe on a really tall hill with a rock outcropping, you can jump off that. And then you can, if you're near one of those areas, you can go there and possibly get loot or kill a player. Small things like that can actually be really helpful. You'd be surprised what you can get from chat. All right, the next one, it's pretty valuable. I made this up pretty quickly, but it's kind of just from my experiences, so this should be hopefully pretty helpful. It's a step-by-step method to define how you're going to approach a situation. So it's 7 steps, basically 6 kind of, but um, this is if you spot a player. This is kind of what I do, and maybe what you should do. So what I do is I take cover, try to hide behind a rock or a building. I like to do buildings usually. Nothing too like don't do radio towers. Don't do anything that players will come to. I like to do the I like to go hide behind the those non-enterable buildings, like the ones that don't have windows and stuff, or sometimes trees and rocks. Rocks are better than trees, and buildings are better than rocks. So that's how I like to think of it. And then go into third person, so that's scrolling out your mouse wheel or and such. And I really like doing this. I know a lot of people are against first person, but I mean, if it's in the game, it's in the game. It's not supposed to be a military simulator. It's built on Roblox, so reality isn't really your first thing when you're playing the game. And to be honest, if you're gonna play realistically, you're probably gonna lose a lot. That's kind of the problem I have with a lot of tactical groups, because it really, really hinders your ability to win if you play really tactically. Because I mean, I like to play tactical and stealthily. If you see my stuff, or sometimes just rush them and just try to kill as much stuff as you can. But I do that with at least, a sort of fun and stuff, and not really being like try to define them as unfriendly and have to go through a process. You can't shoot them, or if you die, you have to wait a certain time. I'm not gonna do that. It kind of ruins the game. But do approach it with some tacticality. Tacticality. I don't know. But yeah. So, uh, anyways, third person. Yeah, just try to drag around a corner so you can peek around the corner and see them. I use this all the time. It's so helpful for that. It's kind of cheap, but if it's in the game, then you're supposed to do it, or you can use it. And then second step is I just observe. So that's watching, studying, seeing what loot they have, kind of what their patterns are. How they approach stuff. It'd be even good if you see them approach a player. That'd be really useful. But zombies, what do they do if they have a melee weapon? That kind of thing. So you're able to approach the situation as such. And based on your playstyle, basically, so this is step 3, if you're a bandit, a survivor, a hero, quotation marks, approach threat. If you're a bandit, approach the threat quietly and stealthily. So that's using trees and rocks as safe zones, basically, as you move up to the player. So, going in third person to make sure that your arms aren't poking out of the tree, that kind of thing. And make sure you do the thicker trees versus the thin ones, because there's different kinds. And that'll be really helpful to approach a player. And I just kind of like zigzag up towards the player. Usually the player will be faster than you, but hopefully they're looting, and I'll get onto that later. But if if you don't want to make contact with the player, basically just put a structure in between you and them. So best would be a building, and then a rock, and then a tree, and just haul it out of there, and go in third person, kind of like drag around to look behind you to make sure that you're always have something in front of you. That's also when you're approaching them too. Always want to make sure that you have something in front of separating you and them, so it blocks their vision to you, but you can see around the tree with third person, or whatever it is, to see them. And if you're a hero, quotation marks, I guess just try to make contact. I don't really play a whole lot of hero. I did a bit ago, but it's not really that forgiving. And also tried playing friendly, if you guys seen that. Doesn't really work out too well, does it? But if you're a hero, yeah, just try to find their name. That's what I always try to do if I want to be friendly. Binoculars, or do it otherwise, and get their name, start talking to them. Being like, hey, you're friendly, such and such. Invite them to the group so they don't try to backstab you. That kind of thing. Never let anybody else run a group. Never, ever, ever. Always can kick you. I'll actually share a story later if I have enough time. So yeah, then step 4, approach until they stop to loot or start typing. Maybe you can even start up a conversation, be like, hey dude, how's it going? Or that's a cool name. I don't know. How's the weather even? Just get them to start talking. So they're are doing that. But don't just say out of the blue like, "Hey, how's it going?" Because that'll kind of make it sound like you're right beside them. But the best way is to wait till they're looting, because when people are looting, they are blind. It's ridiculous. Uh, so yeah, make sure you sneak up on them stealthily and wait until right behind them. Then fire the needed amount of rounds into the back of the character's head. Usually 5 or 6 is okay, but I fire sometimes around 10, just to be safe, but whatever's needed, really, just unload on them and kill them. Like, they'll just die instantly, and they'll be like, what happened? Did I get hacked? Because the easiest way to kill somebody is when they're AFK, and most people are AFK. So the second easiest way is to wait till they're in their inventory or looting, because people are blind when they're looting. You'd be surprised how virtually blind people are when they're looting, especially looting a body. They'll just kind of like stand there and go through their inventory for a few minutes. You can just come up behind them and just shoot them so easily. Anyways, loot the body quickly, occasionally turning and scanning around, make sure nobody's in the area, check chat. If it's inside a building, try to get in an area, like in a corner or something that the windows can't look in, that kind of thing. Just be as safe as you can. You know, it's better safe than sorry. And then leave the area. Sometimes you can stay in the general area up in a covered position like on a building or something and wait for the person to come back for their loot or come back if they spawn near you like in a city or something because they probably will and you can kill them again if you're a jerk, but whatever. I'm not a jerk, but I don't know. And then repeat. Just keep doing that same thing and you're usually going to win them. You're going to win like 80% of the engagements you're in. The majority of times you die is probably being surprised or, get in a fair firefight and you just get killed. So, obviously surprising is the easiest way to win. Um, Also, basically use all this to figure out your plan and what you're gonna do, and especially with people, see how they work. Just observe them for a while. Observe, observe them for a while. Just to see how they run, how they approach situations, that kind of thing. You can almost always win. This is extremely good for groups because groups are tricky. Groups are tricky to kill, and you need surprise to do that. What I always try to do for groups is I try to take their numbers and use it against them. It was easier to do it back when there wasn't a group feature or a group chat, but it's still pretty easy now, especially with large groups. Pro tip, never get in a group more than 4 people. Ever. Or probably more than 3 people. Because more than that, it's just chaotic. Even if you're on Skype, it's still going to be pretty chaotic. So 3, maybe 4 is probably your best number. More than that, it's just going to be a lot of talking, a lot of chaos. I tried to be a leader of a few groups back in the day, back in Amends, in a group of like 8. It was awful. We just got slaughtered because couldn't keep everybody straight. Anyways, kind of getting long here. Use that for groups, and if they have a flaw in defending a base or such, you can use that to your advantage. It really helps a lot. And I guess I'll finish this off with my 3 most important rules, because I don't know if I've gone over these a lot. I'm probably going to go over these every single video to nail them into your guys' heads so you can be better. Number 1, always stay watchful and observant. Alright? Most important. Because you can kill people a lot easier, you can survive a lot easier, you can get loot a lot easier, you can be faster, you can be smarter, you can be stronger, you can be better than everybody else if you just stay watchful. Alright? It'll save your life so much, and it will end people's lives so much if that's what you're going for. Number 2, never underestimate anyone. Cockiness will get you killed. Don't do things like run over people in cars, as I'm probably going to show a clip of here or near, which we did. It was pretty fun, but it's still it'll probably get you killed if you do stuff like that. But it's good to have fun though. So just be careful. Know that you're probably gonna die when you do stuff like that. But never shoot somebody with a secondary. Yeah, I've died a few times by like thinking, oh, this guy's a noob. Let's check him out with my tech or something like that, and it'll get you killed. Because Tech 9's an awful gun, so inaccurate. Anyways, last one, you probably heard it a billion times, but I'll say it even more. Never, 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 ever, ever, never, ever, ever fully trust anybody. Even your closest friends, people will do anything to get your shiny new M4. I mean, I've experienced it all, man. People's. Last minute here. Recently I've been trying to go for Marauder. I might do it again. I got it back in Amend. It's not actually that incredibly difficult, but I just always seem to die because I'm dumb and stuff and do dumb things before I get it. It's been annoying. I've always been trying to get it, but I almost got it recently. It was like a few days off. And I had enough kills and it was going great. And then I decided to trust people because I'm a good person like that. And these guys were like, hey, anybody want a team? I'm like, sure. And they're like, okay, well then, where do you want to meet? And I'm like, let's go around Cemetery, because it was in between us. And then this one of the guys in the group was like, hey, to the other guy, can you go on party chat real quick? And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, no, nah, these guys are gonna try to kill me. But being the good person that I am, I went with it, and I was all like, "Hey, why are you in party chat for?" And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go paintballing later," you know. And the guy's like, "Paintballing's fun," and I'm like, "Hey, don't do anything you guys are gonna regret, okay? It's don't do that, please." Like, yeah, you don't have to worry. And they're like in sync, you know. And I'm like, these guys are so off. I don't like this. And so basically, we meet up in the hill, on a hill, right? And I'm kind of standing there and talking, and all of a sudden I'm like going up, and I see their names leave, and my like just heart just drops. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna die. So I jump around a little bit and start shooting as they shoot back at me. I kill one of them, hide on the other side of the hill. The other one's kind of running around trying to get to a tree, and I shoot him and kill him. And I'm like, yes! And I started to type get wrecked in there, and I had like a sliver of health left, and a zombie comes up behind me and kills me. I'm just like, oh no. It was just awful. It was probably one of the worst times ever to die. I was just so stacked. Um, but still, it's a good story. I'll try to dig around more to see if I have any videos of it, but I don't think I do. Post on Google Plus too. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Sorry I've been rambling on for a while. But here's another mini guide. Oh, long mini guide, I guess. But thank you guys for watching. All right. Stay watchful. Stay out. Stay alive. Stay awesome survivors. We'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Now, with this new feature called the Group and Global Chat, you are now able to talk to your team without having to have Skype or TeamSpeak or any other programs, but now able to alert the enemy. It's this amazing new feature. It still requires you to